All right, so here we want to find these composite functions, but in this case, we are given the functions in a table format. Okay, so the top row represents all the x values or the input. Right, the second row here shows us what f of x is, and the third row on the bottom tells us what g of x is. So for example, right, let's say I asked you what is f of 0, right? So to find f of 0, we'll take f, we'll look at the column where it has a 0, and then f of 0 would equal 5. So that is the function value. Okay, similarly, something like g of 3, right? So to find g of 3, we would look at the row for the g function. Find a 3, right? So g of 3 would equal -8. All right, so we should be able to answer these questions then, okay? So for example, the first question is find g dot f of 2. And we can rewrite that as g of f of 2. Right, so we know that as a composite function, we need to do the inner function first. So what is f of 2? Well, so we'll look at the row for the f function, and f of 2 in this case equals 1, right? So g of 1 then, right? Because f of 2 is equal to 1, so we'll replace the f of 2 with 1. So now we have to find out what g of 1 is. So we'll look at the g function. When x is equal to 1, or when the input is equal to 1, the output is 0. Right? So the final answer here then would be 0. Okay. And then we'll do f of g of -2. Okay, so in this case, the inner function is the g function. So we want to find g of -2 first, right? So we'll look at the row for g. G of -2 is -3, right? So we'll just replace this, right? G of -2, we know that is -3, right? So now the second step is let's find out what f of -3 is. So we'll look at the row for f, -3. F of -3 is equal to 11, right? So that final answer there, okay, will be 11. So as usual, make sure you're careful to do the inner function first and look at the entries correspondingly here, right? Make sure you get the correct values.